Hello everyone. I have been wanting to make some gameplay videos for a while, and after the Dragon Enclosure lecture, I thought it would be interesting to play a Dragon Enclosure game and kind of just talk about it while I play. So our opponent kind of goes into this into the corner here. So they're jumping into the corner right away, which is basically the kind of like the worst thing that you can do against the Dragon Enclosure. Basically, you don't want to jump into the Dragon Enclosure right away, especially since Black is spending 2 moves right away on the corner. And we can see White is trying to split these two groups off on the second line, and that isn't very efficient. It's more likely that I'm going to be able to live on both sides. So there isn't really any value for White splitting this group apart. I'll go ahead and Hane. We definitely don't want to make it too easy for Whites. I will go ahead and cut White. I think that it might be a little too hard to kill White here, because if I play the Hane here, and White plays the Hane again, and I connect, White can cut here on the third line, making it so I have to extend, and it's too hard to really try to kill this corner. So it's better for me to just play the connection here. So this is very greedy. White doesn't really have a lot of room to live on the second line, and he's playing away. So he's trying to split these two groups off, but that's not really going to be possible, especially when this group is so strong, and same for this one. So we'll go ahead and extend. Oh, he's going to crawl. Crawling is crawling is very bad. In fact, crawling I think is a very common mistake, especially around 3-dan Fox. In fact, it's something that we'll see even around 4-dan or 5-dan Fox sometimes. Players like to crawl along the first line, and if they live when crawling, what ends up happening is you get a big wall in results of the other player crawling. So I push through here to force him to connect under because I want him to live on the second line or die on the second line. And so we're going to go ahead and jump, basically, again, trying to press down. He might try to cut here. Okay, he's not going to cut there. And again, we're not really trying to kill him. If we get a wall here, that is acceptable. Like, that is good enough. And we can see that the only value he's getting from this is, so we can say that this is, if we turn here and he turns, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points in total that he gains while living on the second line. Now we can see that he tries to surround this group rather than trying to live immediately. Um, but the thing is that if I play e3, this group is still not alive. But I'm going to choose to try to make my group secure first, because this will leave weaknesses for White. So when White tries to play a Hane here at b9, then I could pull back, and he would have to connect, which would allow me to come back to e3. Um, and then the top white group would be dead. Of course, in this case, white Hane's at b7 again because he wants to try and kill my group, but it's too hard to do that because he has so many weaknesses on the outside, right? We have this attachment, and we could even play c7, but c7 would not be the proper shape. We would rather play this attachment. And so he'll go ahead and take this stone on the second line. And we're going to go ahead and connect up out. And remember, we can still come back to e3 to kill white. In fact, I think now is a fine time for us to go ahead and play e3. And so white can't really make another eye here, so they have to resort to making the other eye on the top of the board. The problem is now when we Hane and they play something like M1, we can see that they don't have enough
Yoyomi now
space to live
starts.
in here. And so white is choosing to cut to try to utilize this this point here at I4. And they're trying to basically trying to cut off this group. And so we're going to go ahead and extend here, make sure that we're connected up and that they can't live. Now, I can remove this eye by playing d1, because again, they don't have any space here for a second eye. So we'll go ahead and throw in here. Sacrifice these 2 stones. So if he captures them, we can then throw in again at c1, which will allow us to take these stones. And so we can see that white has 4 spaces here if they turn, which means that we now need to remove at least 1 space. And we have 2 ways to do that. We can play M1 on the outside,
9,
or we can play
8,
from the inside
7,
and play
6,
J1.
5.
I'm going to go ahead and choose to play J1. I like not allowing white to potentially capture the M1 stone, even though it doesn't make that much of a difference in this case.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5.
And here
4.
we read out that we actually have the ladder, so we can go ahead and run that stone out if we want. However, in this case, it looks like he is trying to cut off this stone, but if he pulls out at g5, we can just call it at g6 and the 2 stones would be captured. Here he might be aiming to kind of look at something like p3 to try and capture these stones here, but we don't have to worry about that because we'll just take the
9,
inside and we'll give
8,
him a little bit on the
7,
outside.
6,
I will go ahead
5,
and protect my
4.
cutting point here, even though we have this net. I'd rather just be safe and not give white any potential aji here. So he may look to try and kill this group soon. So we could say that a lot of the issues that white is having really stems from white trying to kill this group immediately instead of fixing the weaknesses that he had. Bamboo shape. But he has, again, too many weaknesses, so we can push through and push through again. And if he blocks, we have a double Atari. So white has to push through. And here we can either play G9, F10, or E10. In our case, we're just going to extend outward. and we're going to extend again, extend again. Again, he's creating kind of cutting points here. Like we could push through here and there are cutting points. He has to be careful about that. We'll go ahead and jump. So we can tell that our opponent is still very fixated on this group here rather than trying to build elsewhere. However, of course, the game at this point is definitely very difficult, even if he tries to play elsewhere. So I could play I12, but I'm going to go ahead and protect my cutting point with G13. I'm just going to play a simple connection or protect my cutting point simply and play Tiger's Mouth. And I'll even get another Tiger's Mouth here to go ahead and have a double Tiger's Mouth. Make it really easy to make eye shape. And we can also see that we have another eye over here. Now we're not going to spend the entire game running with our group because that is kind of what he wants us to do. Instead, we're going to go ahead and let's just jump into the 3-3. The 3-3 is a really great place to take easy points. So our opponent is very fixated on that kill. We'll go ahead and play here just to kind of show that, hey, we have an eye here, and you can't take it away from us. All right, so he's accepted it. Now we're going to go ahead and play on this side of the board. He can go ahead and double Hane, maybe? Probably what's going to happen. Oh, okay, so he chooses very simply to just push forward. All right, and this is the end of this Joseki. I no longer have to push forward any. I think this turn here is actually pretty big. I think this is also pretty big because capturing the stones can be very big. But I can see that he's starting to build up this area. We can kind of see that there's a center
9,
forming here.
8,
So I'm going to
7,
go ahead and take
6,
this very large turn. Okay, we'll go ahead and make sure that we're alive in this corner, that there's no ko or any way for him to reduce that space. And so we got this turn here, which was pretty big. And now we can also go ahead and kind of get an expansion here to work on expanding our corner. We can still 3-3 if we'd like, and I think that's what we're going to do. Actually, we'll go ahead and just jump out into this area of the board. It's kind of looks like it's where our opponent really wants to try and build. So we'll just make sure that that is kind of reduced. I don't want any issues with cutting points here, so we're going to keep it really simple, and we're just going to play this on top. If he connects under, that's okay. One of the really important parts that we need to understand is that when the opponent is playing second line or the first line, that they're getting very, very little points. They're getting very little value out of what they're playing, and that can be very good for us. So we can see that he's going to get very little value here if he can't actually make something happen. So I'm thinking about setting up a ladder breaker rather than trying to play here immediately. So I'm thinking about saying, hey, I've got this cutting point, and then, hey, I've got this cutting point. Okay, so he's going to try to block this way. So we'll go ahead and back up then. Again, we're just looking for this ladder breaker, but if he keeps pushing us, then we'll look to surround this, this center here. Okay, we'll go ahead and push out once. And then we'll go ahead and threaten to connect up under. Right, so he's going to say that, hey, you're not connected, but we are connected because we can surround this. threaten to cut through here, and then we can play here, which allows us to get a tiger's mouth if he tries to play K11. That is a random move that is not accomplishing anything. We'll take a liberty. So we are now one liberty from being able to kill this group. Unfortunately, with this game, we didn't really get to talk about the pros and cons of playing the Dragon Enclosure in this game because very it was very random and very aggressive.
Yo-Yomi now
He kind of
starts.
just wanted to cut my groups apart immediately. He didn't really care about the value of anything else other than trying to kill the stones. So we didn't really get to see anything that the Dragon Enclosure can do. So this was a game that didn't really matter too much with the enclosure itself. We'll go ahead and connect up to our stone here. I'm thinking that the only thing left really on the board that's big is to come and live in the 3-3. I think this is fine. I was debating on not living in the 3-3 mainly because I feel like he might try to do something like this. And I really wanted to not play a fight like this, but I guess it's inevitable. So we'll go ahead and Hane here, threaten to connect up between these two groups, and he may handle this in various ways. I think in the end, I'm either going to connect up regardless, or I'm going to be able to come out and um, harm the bottom stones. Attack the source of the connection, which is these two stones. And now we can go ahead and try to live under. Ooh. So this is a snapback. When he takes the stone, we can take back. He needed to play the turn at c15. Okay. So we capture. We're just going to go ahead and play this. We don't really need to play closer to try and kill this group. Even though I had thought about h18. Yeah, there's no way to get any living shape here. We can drop down. This would be a problem if this shape was on this side, because then if I drop and they would play something like I-19, again, if they had the 3 shape here, then I would be forced to respond and he would be able to create a second I. All right, and they resigned. Um, okay, I would like to be able to create a video like this every day. Um, I want to try to build my what's the word? Repertoire, maybe. Uh, I don't have many videos right now. I would like to focus on different types of content, but right now I just kind of want to build up that the content in general. And so hopefully climbing with a new account one step at a time and talking about my games, hopefully people find that interesting. Um, I will keep trying with the Dragon Enclosure for a little bit. I don't plan to always play the Dragon Enclosure, but hopefully, while I am trying with it, people will still enjoy the commentary and the videos. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.